Netanyahu's narrative is collapsing. An Israeli soldier has blown the whistle. October the 7th wasn't a surprise, it was a setup. A false flag orchestrated by the Israeli government. Their speciality. The objective? Erase the Palestinian people, seize their land, and expand Israeli borders deep into the Middle East. Now, for the first time, hard evidence has surfaced. A military call sign ordering Israeli forces to stand down before the attack began. Confusion swept through the ranks because the order made no sense. Unless this was yet another Israeli government false flag planned from the top, just like so many before it. Strap in. The truth they buried is finally rising to the surface. And the consequences for Netanyahu are going to be explosive. Before we dive in, a quick word about our partner, VP.net, the next generation of private browsing. VP.net is the only VPN designed with true zero-logging architecture. That means, unlike other VPNs, it literally can't track you. So even if governments or bad actors come knocking, there's nothing to hand over. It's that simple. Your data stays yours, period. Rumours have swirled for months that on the morning of October the 7th, the Israeli government ordered its military to stand down. Now, we have proof. An Israeli soldier has testified before the Knesset committee, revealing he received direct orders from Golani brigade commanders to cancel all patrols along the Gaza border from 5:20 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the very morning that reshaped the region and shocked the world. Sound familiar? Think back to Lucky Larry Silverstein and the quiet directive for Israeli citizens to avoid the World Trade Center on the morning of 9/11. We're looking at the same playbook, just as shameless, just as calculated, and just as devastating.
אני אגיד לך את האמת, אני חייתי עם זה מה-7 באוקטובר ומאוד חששתי לדבר על זה, ושהגעתי לכנסת, זה היה אחרי תקופה ששאלתי כמה שצבא בכירים, מה בעצם קרה שם. והיו כאלה שבהתחלה אמרו לי, תשמע, היה יום צליפה של נונטטים על הגדר, לכן לא רצינו לשלוח חיילים, כדי שלא ייפגעו. ואז עם הזמן קצת נפל לי הסימון, ואמרתי, רגע, אם יש יום צליפה, איך יכול להיות שאני סך הכל 200 מטר מהגדר, לא יודע שיש יום, איך יכול להיות שחברים שלי נלחמים בלי וסט, עם תחתונים וגרביים, ואף אחד לא יודע שיש משהו, אנחנו סך הכל 200-300 מטר מהגדר. והנה, את אומרת, כמו שאת אומרת, הרבה אנשים זה נשמע להם תמוה, ומה בעצם קרה שם. ואנחנו עוד פעם חוזרים לזה, ואני אגיד לך את האמת, אני חי עם איזשהו חור במוח, מאז ה-7 באוקטובר, שמשהו בלב מרגיש לי אני לא יודע מה היה שם, אני רוצה להבין מה קרה, כמו כולם. פתאום הדבר הזה צץ, וההקלטה הזאת התפרסמה, וזה כמו פלשבק החזיר אותי ממש לאותו יום, ומה אני אגיד לך, יאללה, כמוני, כמוך, כמו כל עם ישראל, אני רוצה להבין מה קרה ב-7 באוקטובר, איבדתי המון חברים, נפצעתי קשה, אני כל יום נפגש עם המשפחות, עם ההורים, ובאמת, את לא יודעת איזה כואב זה להכיל את זה וללוות אותם, ואנשים רואים אותי, שלום שטרית הפצוע, הם לא יודעים כמה דברים אתה מנסה לעשות, אני כל יום קם למלחמה, אני מנסה להמציא את עצמי מחדש, אני מנסה לעזור למשפחות האלה, כל יום זה מלחמה בפני עצמה, ואנחנו נלחמים, אנחנו לוחמים.
כמה מלחמה בלי הרגל, את מתכוון על זה, לחיות חיים חדשים.
בדיוק, וגם להמציא את עצמך מחדש, להתקדם בחיים, לא לחיות את הדבר הזה. את יודעת, אנחנו בסוף זכיתי בחיים. אני צריך גם להתקדם בחיים, אני לא יכול להישאר תקוע באותו מקום, אין לי רגל, איזה מסכן. אני רוצה להבין מה קרה שם, ופתאום הדבר הזה שיצא, התציר הזה, זה מפחיד אותי מאוד. אני מקווה שיהיה לנו תשובות יותר ברורות בהמשך, ולא לקפוץ למסקנות, ולא להדאיג מדינה שלמה, אבל כן חשוב מאוד שיהיה פה תשובות חד משמעיות, ומי שצריך לשלם את הדין, שישלם את הדין. כל כך הרבה נרצחים, חטופים. זה משהו שאני בתור חייל ששירת בגזרת עזה, אני אומר לך, על כל פיפס קטן קפצנו לגדר, על כל דבר קטן. זה מפחיד אותי לחשוב מה קרה שם.
Netanyahu's official narrative claims that October the 7th began at 6:30 a.m., the moment that so-called surprise attack was launched. But according to one brave soldier, loyal to his country, not to Netanyahu's lies, the operation began earlier. It began the moment he received a chilling order. Stand down, cancel all patrols, leave the border wide open. An order that made no sense, unless the attack was prearranged. The real story of October the 7th didn't start with rockets, it started with betrayal.
6:30 בבוקר, 7 באוקטובר, אתה במוצב.
אצלנו ה-7 באוקטובר מתחיל לפני 6:30. אני הייתי לוחם במחלקת מרגמות בגדוד 13, גולני, ובאותו לילה אני, יותם סור, הסמל שלי תמר בן יהודה, זיכרונו לברכה, שלושתנו עושים לילה לבן. הרשינו לעצמנו בשבתות וחגים במיוחד, לעשות לילה לבן עד לכוננות עם שחר, ואתם יודעים, יש לנו זמן לישון מחלקת מרגמות עד לכוננות הבאה. אז ב-5:20 בבוקר אנחנו יושבים ליד הקשר כדי לא להעיר מאזין, והסמג"ד שלי, ניר בוינפלג, שגם הוא נפצע קשה, וברוך השם הוא שרד, פתאום עולה בקשר בהודעה מוזרה. כל התחנות, לא יודע למה, לא יודע איך, משהו בסגנון הזה, אין סיור בגדר עד 9 בבוקר.
באיזה שעה זה היה?
5:20 בבוקר.
Now, for the first time, we have documentary evidence that October the 7th was a false flag, carefully orchestrated by those at the very top of the Israeli government's war machine. The brutal ethnic cleansing of Gaza, the wars igniting in Lebanon and Iran, and whatever is coming next, it was all planned, all mapped out in advance. Netanyahu and his inner circle just needed a spark, a pretext. Just like the Bush administration did on 9/11, acting on behalf of the global elite to unleash the Patriot Act, endless war, and reshape the world in their image. History is repeating itself. Only the battlefield has shifted.
כל תחנות נשארים כאן משנה, אז מבחינת קרקע ואויב אין לנו דברים משמעותיים. מבחינת כוחותינו יצאה הנחיה מהחטיבה שעד השעה 9 בבוקר מול הערכת המצב, אף כלי לא מגיע לבורמה. ואני חוזר שוב, עד 9 בבוקר ואל מול הערכת המצב, אף כלי לא לבורמה. נמצאים בנקודות זינוק אחוריות, מהנחת חטיבה, לא יודע בדיוק למה, לא שואל יותר מדי, זאת ההנחיה, זה מה שאנחנו עושים.
The soldier delivering the message was confused, but he followed orders, trusting that his superiors were acting in the best interests of the country. How could he have known what was really unfolding that morning? He didn't see the bigger picture. But now we do.
קצת לפני שהכל מתחיל. ואיתמר דופק לנו פרצוף כזה של מה? ואתה יודע, אנחנו חיילים פשוטים סך הכל, לוחמים, לא מפקדים ולא קצינים שנוכל לשאול שאלות, זו הוראה של הסמג"ד. מקבלים את הפקודה הזאת ולא שואלים שאלות, הורדת פקודה רגילה. ובאמת אחרי שעה, 6:30, פתאום אזעקות.
In the words of this brave soldier, those responsible must face justice. Unlike Israeli false flags of the past, we can't let this one slide. Not this time. Especially now, because others are coming forward. And they're confirming the truth about blackmail operations, covert deals, and the globalist agenda to eradicate borders and reshape the world. We've got the details right after this important message from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is pillsforever.com. If you think Big Pharma have your best interests at heart, think again. The price of medicine in America has skyrocketed, and there are certain medicines Big Pharma don't want you to know about. That's why I've partnered with pillsforever.com. All of their FDA-approved medicines are the cheapest you'll find anywhere. More importantly, you can order medicines that Big Pharma don't want you to have, such as ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and fenbendazole. Speaking of fenbendazole, not only does it get rid of parasites that live inside your body, there have been studies that show fenbendazole can help with cancer. Listen to this top oncologist, who says he's now recommending ivermectin to patients to treat cancers, even terminal and turbo cancers.
There is now extensive research to support ivermectin use in treating cancer, and in particularly the aggressive cancers, the types of aggressive cancers we're seeing in COVID-19 vaccinated individuals, the turbo cancers. So, for example, the glioblastomas, which are, the grade for the brain cancers that are really terminal. If you get diagnosed with that, you may die within a few months. Ivermectin may actually help with those.
Get 15% off using coupon code People's Voice at the checkout. Please click the link below this video to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Israeli lawmakers are moving forward with a bill to punish anybody accused of questioning the official narrative from the Netanyahu government about the details of what happened on October the 7th. Nothing screams, I've got nothing to hide, quite like making it illegal to ask questions. Because when the truth can't withstand scrutiny, you know it was never the truth to begin with. The globalist plot to use Israel to turn the world into a police state controlled by hidden hands has been hiding in plain sight for decades. False flags have always been at the heart of the playbook. As early as 1996, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu conveniently predicted the 9/11 false flag right down to the details. Remember, according to the official narrative, 2 planes flying into the Twin Towers at the heart of Manhattan was supposed to be a black swan event that nobody could have ever predicted.
I said that the West really doesn't understand militant Islam. So I wrote a book in 1995, and I said that if the West doesn't wake up to the suicidal nature of militant Islam, the next thing you'll see is the militant Islam is bringing down the World Trade Center.
Saying something is wrong here is a major understatement. The same applies to October the 7th. We could start with Joe Biden, who was still in office at the time, who sent billions of dollars to Iran and who directly funds Hamas. Just days before October the 7th, Biden sent an irregular payment of $75 million directly to Palestine. And then days later, after the attack, sent a whopping $8 billion to Israel in emergency military aid. In the great tradition of the globalist elite, the Biden administration was funding both sides of the war just before leaving office. The Rothschilds funded both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, and this proved so profitable for them, they funded both sides of every war ever since, including the 2 world wars. The Bush family also have history in this regard, with Prescott Bush, grandfather of George W. Bush, funding both sides of the Second World War. Did you know that during World War II, the head of the US Central Bank and the head of Germany's central bank were brothers? While millions were dying on the battlefield, family was running the money on both sides. Still think these wars are really about nations, flags, or freedom? Or are they about something else entirely?
The central bank of the United States, the Fed, was created right before the war. What was the role of the central banks during that war?
From 1917, the US and Germany were at war, and their economies organized as war economies. At the pinnacle of the war economies are the central banks. So who were the key players in the German central bank, the Reichsbank, which was 100% privately owned? There was somebody called Max Warburg, or Max Warburg, you might say in English, and who was at the pinnacle, in fact, was a founder of the Federal Reserve, and who was the key person there? Paul Warburg, his brother. But of course, the soldiers have to kill each other, and these two countries are at war.
Wait. The head of the German central bank and the head of the American central bank were run by brothers during a war between the US and Germany?
Yes.
There is just one problem for the globalist elite and their plans to reshape the world and enslave the human race. Their plans rely on the people of the world remaining ignorant. And we're not going to let that happen. Israeli insiders are finally speaking out, even from within the most elite intelligence circles. The October 7th cover-up is cracking, and it can only hold for so long. Take this member of Unit 8200, Israel's top cyber intelligence unit. She warned her superiors in advance about the coming attack. Their response? Threaten her with court-martial, because the truth isn't just inconvenient, it's explosive. The Times of Israel, Associated Press and Al Jazeera all reported that Egypt warned Israel of a major attack coming from Gaza 10 days before the event on the weekend, but Israeli officials ignored it. According to a brave former Israeli intelligence agent, the Hamas attack did not make any sense at all, and bore all the hallmarks of a planned operation designed to spark another war for the elite.
A year ago, there was a military operation in Gaza to prepare for such events, and ongoingly there are trainings for these kind of scenarios. This raises serious questions for me anyway about Israeli intelligence. What happened? 2 years ago, there was a successful deployment of underground barriers with sensors to alert exactly on these kind of terrorist breaches. Israel has one of the most advanced and high-tech armies. How come there was zero response to the border and fence breaching? I cannot understand that. Personally, I served in the IDF 25 years ago in the intelligence forces. There's no way, in my view, that Israel did not know of what's coming. A cat moving alongside the fence is triggering all forces. So this? What happened to the strongest army in the world? How come border crossings were wide open? Something is very wrong here. Something is very strange. This chain of events is very unusual and not typical for the Israeli defense system. This surprise attack seems like a planned operation on all fronts. This is a failure to protect the people of Israel, for sure. Perhaps the biggest failure since the Yom Kippur War exactly 50 years ago, if not bigger. By the way, is it a coincidence it's exactly 50 years ago, almost on the day? The Yom Kippur War was on October 6, 1973. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say that this feels like the work of the deep state. It feels like the people of Israel and the people of Palestine have been sold once again to the higher powers that be. At the same time, this is still very, very difficult to fathom.
The globalist elite don't just want profit, they want control. They light the match, watch the world burn, and cash in on the chaos. This isn't about safety, it's not about freedom. It's about power, wealth, and total domination. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. We can't do it without you.